Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hello, welcome to Be My Guest. Today we have an author who has been with us before, Phyllis Calvey. She's a children's author, and she has written an adorable new book, Caterpillar's Search for the Perfect Halloween Costume. Welcome back, Phyllis.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back, Jan. Thank you for inviting me.
If you notice, Phyllis is in her Halloween outfit. I mean, how apropos. That is fantastic. At Halloween, Phyllis, did you meet with groups of children in any way, or did you do anything special?
I did, and all of October, I did Halloween story times at different libraries. And it's funny, not funny to me, but I think I wrote the book that I feel is a book for any time of year, because it's basically a book about friends helping each other. But how the idea came up was, of course, the first book I wrote was The Butterfly Club, and I just fell in love with monarchs.
Yeah.
I wanted to share something about these amazing creatures with children.
Yeah.
So I've always written adult stories for adults, but this is for both, because I'll tell you, the adults love this book.
Oh, I think it's
they're really
illustrator is
liking
terrific.
it.
The illustrator, hello, Mackenzie Boucher.
Mackenzie, yeah,
she
did a great job. So when I was thinking of what could I do to share the story of monarchs with children, and I was thinking of how they change. And a lot of kids, even at a young age, are learning about metamorphosis.
Yeah.
And the monarch butterfly, such a rare metamorphosis of actually, when you think about it, changing from a yellow, bright yellow and white with black striped caterpillar that crawls on the ground, and then totally transforming into this beautiful orange and black monarch butterfly with wings to fly.
Yeah.
So when we were thinking about the idea, I thought, Halloween. I mean, that's when we try to change what we look like, and it'd be exciting for kids. So I think I'll try to write a Halloween story about Caterpillar and her perfect search for the Halloween costume. So it was fun trying to think how a story develops. You always read about an author writing a children's book, and then you fall in love with the characters yourself. Yeah. I mean, my daughter always laughs and says, it's like you really know the ant. It's like you really know Cricket. Right. And you do, because when you're writing about them, you kind of find the soul of the character. Yeah. So the first thing I thought, well, what characters would we use for all Caterpillar's friends? So first, I thought of, let's think of 6 friends. Yeah. So we're thinking of different friends, and the very first one I thought of was Ant. Yeah. And I said, what costume would an ant wear for Halloween? Yeah. And again, not thinking that how much fun this would be to have people guess. This is just writing the story. Yeah. So I thought, an ant, well, let's see. There are different kinds of ants. There's red ants, there's black ants, there's common ants. And as soon as I thought, there's carpenter ants. First costume, Ant's going to be a carpenter for Halloween. And what began to develop is this feeling that each friend had found the perfect costume. And that was so much fun. Then Ladybug came next, and she was black and red, and just such a beautiful black and red. So I thought, ladybugs are so good. They're good in the garden. They're helpful. A firefighter. And when we do that with the kids, at first my daughter thought of, she's a Head Start teacher, so she's like, oh, Mom, I'm going to love this book. So she made a storyboard for me. Yeah. And we did pictures of all the costumes.
Like a collage.
Well, one at a time, which I thought was wonderful. So say Ladybug now, I there's a knock on the door, which she read this story to her kids for Halloween, her class, and she said, Mom, the kids are like this, waiting, because Caterpillar knocked on the door, and my daughter would knock on the door, and the kids would be like, who's going to be there?
Yeah, definitely.
So then...
You had walking stick, too.
And walking stick. Oh, now, Jan, now I have to share that story, because cricket, I fell in love with. And I think, thinking of cricket, I thought of Jiminy Cricket. And developing the characters, I thought, maybe Jiminy Cricket was Cricket's great-great-grandfather. Mm-hmm. And he learned the story about Jiminy Cricket being the kind person who always helped Pinocchio do the right thing, listen to the right voice of what he should do. So kind Cricket really affected me, because he's the one who's thinking that Walking Stick is one of their friends. And Walking Stick is one of my husband's favorite bugs, because they're so rare. I mean, if you see a walking stick in your lifetime...
It literally goes straight up, right?
Well, it literally looks like a stick.
Yeah.
So, in a way, it fits so well in the story, because they're so slow, because they have to be in camouflage, for birds not to prey on them. So they stay for hours in a camouflage position, and they don't move, but they're very, very slow. So when we were thinking of how could a walking stick go for Halloween, my first thought was, he really couldn't. And then I started thinking about how this little group was such friends, and Cricket thought of a way that Walking Stick could go for the first time he could trick-or-treat.
And that's really a show of kindness, right there.
And it made me emotional to think. So I asked the kids, well, what costume do you think Cricket could have picked? And then when they see the pirate, oh my goodness, perfect, because he could actually hold his friend, and when he could go as himself. Walking Stick actually could go as a walking stick, and Cricket could hold him and walk with him. And I was really thinking, I wonder if just one friend somewhere would think, maybe we should think of a way one of our friends who's never been able to go for Halloween could go trick-or-treating this year with us. Yeah. So Cricket became like kind Cricket in my mind.
Did you ever think, Phyllis, when you graduated high school, etc., did you ever know you'd be an author, a children's author?
I wanted to be an author since I was 15. I started writing stories and telling stories. Did your teacher notice? I think I may have asked you this years ago, but didn't your teacher pick up on this, your ability? She did.
Oh, yeah. What did she say to you? Did she encourage you?
There was something about my writing, but what I tell people, too, I always write things that are true. Yeah. I mean, this story is probably the first one that is true in my mind. But the stories I used to write, where I'd see something beautiful happening, or a kindness, or a story, and then I would write about it.
Yeah.
But the way my writing would always come back in a circle, people seemed to be, wow, I just never expected to feel that emotion.
Yeah.
So.
Did you, after high school, what did you do after that?
I went to college, but then we got married. Yep. My husband and I just fell in love, and so I left college to be a mother.
So what did you major in college?
English.
Where'd you go?
Boston State.
Okay, do you know Plymouth State up in New Hampshire?
Oh, yes.
I went there, but I didn't realize it was a party school. I just wasn't interested in what the frat and sorority parties, the drinking, and all that stuff, so I felt kind of like, I don't fit in. But by a couple of years, I was bored. I said, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm majoring in art. Where am I going to take this? So, as I've told you many times, I called my parents and I said, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
My father was not happy. No. He didn't know. I thought I was saving him money. That didn't bother him. What bothered him is, what are you going to do with yourself? So he said, when you come home, you're going to have to go for a career. He was going to help me. But so I knew, the axe was down, and that's it. You no more time. This is what you're going to have. Pick one of these two things. Phyllis, how can they get a hold of a copy of your book?
If they want a signed copy, it's very easy. They can go on my website, butterflyclubbook.com. And it's very easy. The book is there.
Yeah.
This book is featured. And there's a place where they can just tell me who they would like me to sign it to. And I love to write something personal to one of the kids.
Yeah.
And then I mail it out to them. That's how simple. Or sometimes people would rather just get it on Amazon,
Yeah.
and that's fine too.
Yeah. Where some of the places you were telling me, you've been to the Bellingham Library, and you went to the Bellingham Senior Center.
That was fun.
Yeah.
You know, I love to do that, Jan, to even not just the Bellingham Senior Center, but if there was a women's group, sometimes it's just fun to share how the book came about, to and to reminisce with their own memories. Like the senior, there was a woman there, 102 years old.
Just a kid.
Jan. It was at the Bellingham Senior Center.
Yeah.
She looked 70.
Yeah.
She sang to us,
Oh.
and she was guessing the costumes. It was lovely. And then they started remembering what was Halloween like when they were kids and how different it was.
Yeah.
So it was really fun.
Somebody like in their hundreds, late 90s, are old enough to be parents of a lot of the boomer generation people. Just, you know, my parents were the greatest generation. Then we had, I couldn't call kids for me, the doo-wop generation, the kids that were with Elvis Presley and all that stuff. Blah. But then came the boomers, you know, with a huge generation from 1946 to 1964. That's a lot of people. And our music, well, I don't know if you're a boomer, but boy, we changed the world. Oh my gosh. From the Beatles, from them, you go all the way up into like Kiss. What's Kiss? Well, it was a rock band, a really hard rock band. Crosby, Stills and Nash. Remember some of them?
I know them. My son loved Kiss.
Yeah.
Was it Kiss he loved? Kiss and Metallica and those groups.
Yeah.
Which was fun because he would, we had a thing together that he would listen to me.
Yeah.
And I said, I will read the words to your songs because I can't hear the words.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, when I would read the words to the songs he loved,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how profound they were.
I know.
They were a little down, but very profound.
Yeah.
So that
Now,
was a fun
Phyllis,
time.
where are you going to be appearing with your book, talking about your book coming up? Where are you going?
Right now, I don't have any specific place. Again, I'm thinking it really is a book for any season. It would be a wonderful Christmas time of friendship, talking about the friendship of kids. Because one of the things I love about the book, too, is, well, two things of how the characters, well, all her friends, think of how to help her.
Right.
Because she can't think of what to wear. And Janet, do you remember? I remember how important that was to think of a Halloween costume.
My best friend and I were still going on at 13.
And, you know, our kids, too. My husband did the most incredible face painting and costumes for Trevor and Jesse. And I dedicated the book to them because as soon as I started writing it, I could see him painting my son's face and both of them just sitting there with their little chins tilted up so patiently. And so even like Aunt is Caterpillar's best friend, and you always had a best friend.
Yeah.
And Honeybee is the one who always knows what she's going to be.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a friend that months before Halloween, she already knew what she was going to be for Halloween.
Right.
So I tried to capture some of that, the memories of that.
Yeah.
But her friends are so anxious to help her, to say, you know, if we show you our costumes, maybe that will help you.
Yeah.
And then even on her way home, Caterpillar still doesn't know what she's going to be, but she's happy that her friends found their perfect costume. And I think that's so important today for kids to realize that it's okay that you don't have what you need right now or you don't have it, but how wonderful that your friends are happy for you, you know, or that you can be happy for each other even though you haven't found what you want yet.
Phyllis, if somebody would like you to come and appear at their facility or wherever, how can they get a hold of you to maybe talk about that?
If they go on my website, again, www.butterflyclubbook.com, they can contact me through my email, through Facebook. If they go to Facebook, Phyllis Calvey.
Sure.
And I'd be happy to You know, they can design a program. A lot of people think of different ways to engage, or even a lot of authors I see, and I haven't had a chance to do that yet, really, but they have a program where they share, again, how the book came to be, how they wrote it. It's a book. Actually, one woman came who was writing a book. She came to the senior center and asked to speak with me afterward. How do you write a book? What publisher could I find, and what can I do, and can you help me?
It too, which is great. I love
right. Stillwater Press.
I know. Yep, I know.
Steve and Dawn, they did this book, and I would never go anywhere else.
Steve has been on the Steve Porter. Shout out to you and Dawn. They own Stillwater Press out in is it
Pawtucket?
Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Yeah. And did you ever hear about that every December event, Roads on the Pawtucket?
Yes.
It was held in Cranston.
I was there a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, I went there one. It was absolutely overwhelming with authors. They've closed down most of that now.
But they're doing it someplace else.
Yeah, where are they? I don't
know. I forgot because I can't make it this year.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say I don't remember where it is. And they just switched it because it was going to be there, and then something happened
Maybe
with the facility.
I don't know, but there's also right now with the COVID problem. I
They're
love
still
going to these
doing
places, but it's still kind of like there's a lot of people. It is packed with authors.
Yeah. Really?
You were there?
Yeah, I went 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
That one time?
That one time.
I don't remember seeing you. Maybe we were there 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know. But from Upton, it's a bit of a little haul out to Cranston.
It is. It is for us, too.
Yeah.
But it was well worth it.
How did Phyllis Calvey, how did you meet Mackenzie Boucher?
Mackenzie is my grandson's girlfriend, and she became a very close friend with our family. And my granddaughter, I think now I have a great-grandchild who I adore. My granddaughter was having a baby, and we didn't even know, we call her Mac, was an artist. And she offered to do these beautiful paintings for the shower.
Yeah.
And Haley wanted to do a Winnie the Pooh theme. And she did the most beautiful job.
Yeah.
So I talked to Mackenzie after, and I said, would you be interested in illustrating
your book?
My children's book? And she really wanted to and loved to, and I think she did a fantastic job because we really wanted it to look like children's illustrations.
Right.
Not something, a serious...
For sure.
I know. I just love them. Honeybee.
She is very much in touch with her inner child.
That's what we thought. My husband and I, of course, we always write together. My husband's a fantastic editor and artist, so he helps me with everything that we do.
Gosh, now, have you got anything coming up for your next book, maybe?
I don't yet. I really was so straight out writing this and going out. I'm writing a serious article now about monarchs and that
about what?
Monarch butterflies.
Okay.
So that's taken me a while. And I also wanted to just bring up that with this book, too, I was really hoping to just bring up the plight of the monarch butterfly and the decline. And what I love to see is how the world, not just one country, the world is trying to rescue and stop the decline of these amazing, amazing creatures. So in the book, and my first book is really how God communicates to us through signs with loved ones. But when I was thinking, I want to find an organization that helps monarchs. Yeah. So the first, you type in something in the bar, and the first place that came up was SaveOurMonarchs.org. When I went on their site, Jan, there was a special Halloween program that they were advertising. Yeah. A Halloween program.
This is so apropos.
With the book. I said, okay, God, this is the organization you want me to include in the book.
Sure.
And their promotion was, and I think they do it in July, but then they do it later. And for Halloween, if you donate a certain amount of money, they will mail you, I forgot how many, free packets of seeds. And on a Halloween, they wanted you to give a packet of milkweed seeds to all the trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
So I put them, and I had seen this beautiful seed packet. Maybe if you can show, this is an antique seed packet. on the page of Save the Monarchs.
Oh, yes, okay.
I just fell in love with that seed packet. And I loved it because there's monarchs on it, and then if you look closely when you see the book, there's a beautiful caterpillar on one of the leaves.
Yeah.
So it has the caterpillar, and I figured that the metamorphosis into these beautiful orange and black monarchs. So I texted them, and I asked them permission if I could use the seed packet.
Yeah.
And I thought this hopefully would have families realize we can do something in our own backyard.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't have to be something huge. Sometimes you think, well, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
But people all over the country are planting milkweed seed, and it's it's really reversing the decline of the monarchs. So because I didn't know that either, because the first book was it was very centered on spirituality.
Right.
But then when I was finished, I did so much research on monarchs themselves, which are the most spiritual. I hate to even call it an insect because it's just too beautiful for me to think of as an insect.
Yeah.
But they're so spiritual, with the metamorphosis being a view for us of our own spiritual metamorphosis. And I just loved learning about them. And I wanted the kids to realize, do you know that when a monarch caterpillar is born, it can only eat one thing, milkweed. I had no idea.
I didn't either.
So the mother monarch has to lay her eggs on a milkweed plant.
So that's the big connection. Okay.
That's the connection.
All right, I got that.
And if there's no milkweed,
Yeah.
because as soon as the egg emerges,
Yeah.
it eats the milkweed. So I think with kids, can you imagine if there's no milk for a baby?
Yeah.
They can't eat anything else.
Can't survive.
So this is what's happening. And then as people are realizing they also need nectar plants for the male monarchs to make a 3,000-mile migration. So
Well, that's a long way to go for a girlfriend. So, that's persistent.
can you imagine? Well, there's actually there is one generation. There's so much involved with monarchs
Yeah.
that is so interesting.
So tell us one more time, how can they get a hold of your book and talk to you too?
And and it's just not just buying the book. If you want to just talk to me, if you've ever, this book, if you're interested, or the Butterfly Club book, if you've ever had a butterfly sign, or I call it a butterfly encounter, where a loved one has come to you in the sudden appearance of a monarch butterfly just when you need it most. So if you want to talk about it or share a story, just come to my website, www.butterflyclubbook.com, and please, I'd love to hear from you.
What about school librarians? Do they connect with you?
Oh, they have. I was so happy, Jan, because the first library I called, and lovely librarians I've got to meet, they're hearing about you're kidding. Bugs dressed up in Halloween costumes, and Ladybug was a firefighter. And, you have to come. You have to come and do a story time for us.
This is Bellingham, right?
In Bellingham, but really a lot of the surrounding towns too that we've done. It was a little hard because quite a few of the libraries didn't do it this year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But they said, please call me next year. We'd love to do it. And they've encouraged the kids to dress in their Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
So they come dressed in their costume, and then they have a craft afterward. So they do a wonderful craft, and it's just been, to see those little kids, one little girl, she's 5 years old, Jan, and we were at the library in Woonsocket, the Woonsocket Harris Library, and she's sitting on her mat, and she's so excited about guessing. And then at the very end of the book, when Caterpillar turns into a butterfly, she says, "That's not a costume.
Yeah.
That's a real butterfly." But her little face was so excited.
Kids come out with the wildest things.
Oh, they really totally amazed
Do you
me.
have grandchildren, Phyllis?
I do, and I if I can share just this one funny story. Of course, I always share all my writing with my grandchildren. My daughter is invaluable to always helping me. She's a teacher. And I can be a serious writer, so when I was writing this, you go, Mom, this is to kids.
Yeah.
This is a kid's book. And you know, the idea of is that you kept coming up, you know, that the kids would love. So I said to my grandson, Caleb, what do you think? What insect would you come up with?
Yeah.
And so he's, you know, really serious. And I love how my grandchildren always get involved with the story. They don't take it lightly.
Yeah.
And then he says, oh, I know, Grandma. Do a mosquito. And then he could go as a vampire.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I loved it, but I said,
Yeah.
then it made me realize that I only did the good bugs.
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
did the kind bugs.
Definitely. I see his point of view, though. That's pretty.
I loved it, Jan.
Yeah.
And when one of the adults said, you know what, I would have done a horsefly going as a cowboy. So people, I said, that's pretty cool, because horseflies are always around horses. And but people, one little girl said when we did the spider, and spider, I wanted so much to put to have a mother make one of the costumes. Because, you know, sometimes kids are like, oh, I want to buy a costume, and mothers are so creative.
I used to make my son's costume.
Oh, so I said, Spider's mother is a genius, and my daughter actually came up with that costume when we said, oh, I like Spider, you know, spiders are so good in the garden, they're helpful insects. She goes, Mom, an octopus, and because 8 tentacles and 8 spider legs, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, yeah, that's perfect.
That's pretty good.
So
Yeah.
that was great for her.
Phyllis,
to
before we
think of
close,
that.
do you have anything in particular around here where you'll be appearing, where people can see you coming up right now, or not right now?
I don't. With Halloween just ending,
Yeah.
I didn't start, you know, booking unless people think of something, you know,
Okay,
that
because
they
it's a
want to
great
do.
time, you know, as a gift for the kids.
Oh, it's a perfect,
holiday
really, it's a
coming.
perfect Christmas book.
Yep.
Again, I can't stress enough how it's all about kindness in such a world where sometimes kindness isn't, well, I shouldn't say that, because with COVID we've seen so much kindness.
I know.
But I think people are looking for ways to emphasize kindness with their kids.
Right.
And so that's a nice book to
Caterpillar Search for the Perfect Halloween Costume by our guest Phyllis Calvey. When did you start writing it? Last year or the year before?
I think, you know, I can't, I mean, it could be 2 years.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was a while to write.
Yeah.
Once it's written, it seems so simple, but it was involved to think of everything.
And downstairs at the Upton Library, you
Oh,
can
yes.
borrow a copy of it.
Yes.
And it's great for the kids. You know, I'll be saving my copy because there's a brand new little baby girl in our family. And as she gets older, I will be showing her Phyllis Calvey's books. How's that?
I love that.
Thank you for coming here.
Oh, Jan, thank you so much for inviting me.
We'll have her back again. I don't think this is the last hurrah for you at all. You've got a lot of energy.
You keep thinking, of course, ideas just keep popping in your mind.
There you go. That makes a good
The
author.
inspiration.
We'll see you next time on Be My Guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.